Welcome to the Bodcast, Season 7, Episode 8. We are all back in Kenya now, and Nairobi is finally, well, this is the weather forecast for everyone who wants to know. Nairobi is nice and wet, but Andy says he's still living in the desert.
Yeah, Naivasha. Well, not Naivasha, I should say, because actually there's been a lot of rain in Naivasha. Where I am up near Longonot on Kadong, we've had no rain. It's pretty dire, to be fair. The grass is like brown and done. The animals would get a bit skinny, but yeah, it's not ideal. Hopefully, look out the window. I see some clouds. Hopefully, we get some rain.
So we're pushing them. We're pushing them from us.
It's got a habit of like going around us, raining all around. So when I drive down to the shops, we go through puddles.
Oh.
It's a nightmare.
So in this podcast today, we are going to be talking about all the different types of metabolic diets, as they are so popular. And, you've got metabolic balance, you've got metabolic type, all these diets that are saying they're going to reset your metabolism or boost your metabolism whilst balancing your hormones and, you losing a ton of weight. And so we're going to go through them, give you the science and pretty much why we don't like them. And I just think they are marketed so well. That's the thing, people generally don't even understand what metabolism is, but, they think of it, I just have a slow metabolism and then that makes me fat. Or if I do X, Y, Z, or if I cut carbs, I'm going to boost my metabolism and I'm going to lose weight. And that is not how it works. But they market it as such, like they're like, we're going to look at your unique metabolism. We're going to do these blood tests, and this is going to tell us exactly what you need to eat in what amounts, to lose a whole ton of weight. And, who doesn't want that? Especially when they start throwing in like fancy words about all these different blood tests they're going to do. And, anywhere I think that it mentions like balancing hormones, resetting your metabolism, detoxing. I think those are all those sort of strategic, seductive words that people are like, yes, I want this diet.
That's the best thing you can learn from them. Their marketing skills are amazing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, amazing.
That's from Clear's intro, you can tell, like that's where we like, their marketing is amazing. They use all the words that I guess they know, all the trigger words on social media that people, especially desperate, and you see that and it just gets you like, oh, I wish I could lose 20 kilos in 2 weeks kind of thing. So yeah
100%.
So this episode will be very useful if you've listened to our previous episode where we've talked all about metabolic. Oh, sorry. I was just watching the fly. Andy was saying he was being bothered by flies. I can see them.
I'm getting me bothered by judging that.
Sign of the rains, maybe.
Yeah, they're going.
Hopefully.
But yeah, if you listen to our previous episode about metabolic adaptation, and this is why we always bang on about understanding the basics, because if you do, you can look through all this seductive marketing and it can be so hard. I mean, I was reading through the metabolic balance one. I was like, oh, that sounds like, yeah, these guys are legit. And then you just read on, you're like, no, just no. And they're not cheap. That particular one was $900 for 3 months. And
Wow.
we always find it frustrating as coaches where, someone will be like, oh, your services are too expensive, but then we'll go and spend $900 on a metabolic kind of balancing diet. You're like,
maybe even do it for a year.
Okay.
Yes.
You're like, so there are just so many lessons here. And we hope that if you listen to this and you've just been, thinking about perhaps doing one of these, that just don't do it. And I wish, like when we were talking about The Biggest Loser, that, they did a follow-up of these diets, because all of us have got clients who have been on these, and their hormones have not been balanced. Their hormones are now dysfunctional. Their metabolism has not been reset or boosted. It has been downregulated, and it has adapted. And, we have helped these clients overcome the very negative effects of these type of diets. And it's just like on social media, you'll see, as we'll get into it, a lot of these are keto, and aimed for very rapid fat loss. People are like, oh yeah, this is so cool. Look, I lost 20, 30 kilos. And you're like, okay, let's look at you next year and see where you're at.
Yeah, and here's the thing, it's not even just the physical side of these diets. These diets just teach disordered eating. There's just a massive element of disordered eating. You're telling people to restrict almost nothing periods of time, and they come out and then they're too scared to eat. As soon as they do eat, or they lose their heads a bit and start overeating, that weight flies back on because the body's primed to put on body fat. So it's like, great, yeah, you've lost 20 kgs, but now you've just put on 40. And that's often what happens.
Yeah. And it's because they are so extreme, and like you just said, Andy, that they are very specific meal plans. They're not teaching you kind of about the foods. It's like, okay, at breakfast you have these options, lunch you have these options, dinner you have these options. And it's like, well, what if you're going out, or what if you're going on holiday? And these kind of things don't take into account, there's no refeed days, there's no diet breaks, there's no considering, I think, like especially women, where they're at in their cycle. It is literally a surefire way to downregulate your metabolism pretty quickly, because there's no way around it. If you are in an aggressive fat loss phase, you're not resetting your metabolism, you're downregulating it. It's gonna adapt. And I'm not saying, like, a lot of people who do these diets are obese or have chronic conditions, and like they do need to lose weight, but there are better ways to do it, and to do it sustainably.
Here's the thing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, these guys what's these guys' qualifications who came up with these diets? People are just blindly following things based off buzzwords. But look, these diet plans aren't set by dietitians.
Yeah, you find, funny enough, I remember, no need to mention, but it was and it was a client, and it was done by a doctor, not a real, nutritionist or dietitian. So it just doesn't consider your life, doesn't consider, say, maybe you have work, you have kids, you want to train. Because I remember that one first 3 to 4 weeks, you're on super low, and it says don't do any form of exercise, just kill yourself on a diet.
That's what all of them say. Like, even the metabolic balance diet is like, you're not exercising through this. Carry on.
No,
it's because you have no carbs to fuel anything. So it's
if you exercise, you die.
Yeah, it's a very smart way. It's like, it's like if they exercise, they'll die.
They'll collapse.
But we want them to see results so quick that they think, So it's like, don't.
And it's really for like lazy people, right? Because essentially it's for people go, because I love exercising, and people who generally enjoy exercising are healthier, because there's more to health than just losing body fat. But like, imagine someone saying to someone who hates exercise, you don't have to exercise. That sounds great. Like, if you're that way inclined. But here's the thing, like, doctors know shit about nutrition generally. You ask doctors, they do very little of their health training about nutrition. We can tell you the health impact probably of having very low carbs. And they know it from, like, the benefits of, say, epilepsy and things like that. But what we want, they know it loses. They're not we're not experts in nutrition.
Yeah.
They're not a dietitian. You know, that's why doctors in proper places will generally send a patient. So when you go, say for UK, if you go to the NHS and go, right, you got diabetes, he sends you to a diabetes nurse who explains diabetes to you. Then they give you a referral to potentially, if you need it, to a dietitian to explain what to eat.
Yeah.
It's not, I'll just make up this diet for you, eat this, hope you don't die.
Well, that's the thing, and like that, not exercising is ridiculous, because that's such a great way to manage your blood glucose, which is, one of the markers that these guys track. So I think let's look at the different types of these metabolic diets. So one of them is based on your metabolic type. And I don't know exactly what that is. Like, so you get people who have, if you're watching, you'll see I'm doing quote unquote a slow metabolism. That actually means you are very efficient at using all the calories that you eat. And you're very good at not wasting them through thermogenesis, which is heat. So people who have a quote unquote fast metabolism is actually a very inefficient metabolism. Yeah. They lose a lot of energy through heat. So, there's always that one person that, you're like, they're just a bottomless pit. Like, where does it go? And you're like, well, if you watch them, one of our friends is just a classic example. They do not sit still. They are moving. So their NEAT is just naturally really high. And a lot of the energy that, they eat is just wasted through heat. So the body is not very good at using the food that you eat rather. So, everyone always uses the example of cars. So they would be like a Ferrari in terms of their fuel efficiency. And the quote unquote slow metabolizers are, the Priuses of the sort of metabolism world. And like, neither is better. It's just understanding that. And, it's always when people are like, oh, I have a slow metabolism, or if you are just someone who tends to put on weight easily and finds it hard to lose weight easily, like the go-to is like keto, and like, oh yes, we'll cut carbs for your special type of metabolism there. And that's not how it works. And you've got to take into account the bigger picture here. And also, like, there might be other things going on internally that will be made worse by you just eating carbs. So that's how I
was going to say, something you just said. One of my favourite things is when someone says, I used to have really fast metabolism, and as I've got older, it slowed down. What we actually mean is they used to be really active when they were young, and now they're a lot less active. And, so it's not so much like your metabolism. I'm a classic example. When I was young, I was so active, I struggled to put weight on. Now, with work, you spend more time at a computer, you've got to make sure you're mindful about getting enough NEAT in and getting your steps, life changing. It's not your metabolism hasn't changed. You don't have suddenly a slow metabolism, fast metabolism. It's the same metabolism, just your levels of activity and potential.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just, again, so seductive. Like, I think people always want like an answer like, oh yes, I'm a slow metabolic type.
Yeah.
If I eat X, Y, Z, I'm going to lose weight. And it's like, it just does not work that way. And, sorry.
No, I was going to say, she's just put it in such a nice way with the way Andy was saying. A lot of people like lazy and easy, and it's the way Cleo just put it. Guys just want your A, do B, get C, done.
Yeah.
It's, that's the sad part of. Well, I guess if you're desperate and want results quick, it's easy for anyone to just tell you you can do this and that, and yeah, and you fall for it easily.
Yeah.
You do, and like we've all seen these diets.
Oh yeah, many times.
And they're like, oh, this is personalized to you. And you're like, okay, well, all of you are eating the same 45 grams of feta cheese and the same 8 strawberries. You're like, that is not personalized to you. And again, you've not been taught about nutrition. Instead, like Andy said at the beginning, you're just taught disordered eating. You're taught to fear certain foods. You're like, oh, those aren't on my plan. I can't eat those. And it's just so restrictive. We'll go into it in a bit.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good point, because you get told you should only, with your metabolism type, only eat those foods. So you think, actually, my body can only survive from those foods. Everything else is bad for me. Therefore, you just stop eating a whole world of food based off something that, it's essentially, people love having, as Claire said, an outside focus. People don't like to be internally introspective and go, what could I actually do to improve my own health? It's got to be something stopping me from doing. There is things that will not help. We talk about stress a lot and things like this. But generally speaking, a lot of what we deal with is within our own power to change. Not like there's some magic bullet of you eat this type of food to be alright. It doesn't work like that. It's just food is just energy.
It is, and it's like eating for your body type. Like you've got an ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph. So endomorphs are sort of generally your people who might store a bit more weight or find it harder to lose weight. Mesomorphs are sort of your athletic types, and then the ectomorphs are your sort of skinny types. And it's like, okay, you can eat according to your body type. Ectomorphs can eat lots of carbs, endomorphs shouldn't eat carbs, and it's just like
it's just stupid.
It's so simplified. It's so simplified, but people love that stuff.
No, the thing is, it's been debunked for years. Like this whole
it's
mesomorph, whatever. It's been, it's now known that it's a load of old rubbish. Yes, we all have genetically different types, but every type of structure, like whether you've got narrow shoulders, wide shoulders, you can all get fat.
Yeah,
you can all get ill. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference what your body structure is.
Yeah, it's so crazy, because I remember when I played football and the client came with the same thing Claire was saying, like, I'm an ectomorph, whatever. So we start, and I'm like, so what you're trying to say is I changed my body type over the years. I became an Indo, then I changed. I never changed my eating, never changed anything. I just trained and, trained for what I wanted to achieve, if it was football or growing muscle. So it's not like I was changing my body type over the years by following a certain special rule. And you could see mentally it was hard.
Like the bodybuilder.
Yeah. I was going
to say, take Sean Clarida.
Yeah.
Take Sean Clarida when he started his bodybuilding. Super tiny guy.
Yeah.
Now he looks like a mini Ronnie Coleman. Was his body type changed? No, he's just got a muscle.
Is it true?
His structure's the same. It's just now got slabs of muscle on top of it.
I guess it's sort of the same with metabolism. It's like you said, activity changes, life changes.
Yes.
You grow up and you get kids, work, school, things change. How
goals,
you stress,
priorities, and goals change.
Yeah.
As we get older.
And that, I think that right there is one big thing all these diets don't consider. They just don't consider you as an individual or your life.
So like when you're young, as you said it, Leon, when you're young, you want to be, say, like me, you want to be good at football.
Yeah.
You wanted to improve your physique for football. Me, for rugby. Our goal was purely that. So we were active. And in fact, it probably was counter. If I knew what I knew now, I would
so true.
be eat more. because my activity levels were so high, like running
That's
at
really
least 10 rugby training, doing Muay Thai training, kicking a football round during school times. When if I'd known, I've been powering through. Actually, my parents would probably kick me out for adoption. So if they said I had enough anyway. So but the fact is, that's the reality. So and then slowly over time, you're I need to focus on work. So you spend more time in the office, at your desk, or even if you work from home, and, even if you're a home trainer, you spend more time doing people's programming, trying to educate people, and less time actually being active.
yeah.
Unless you're really mindful about it. It's big. We've all had it. Times when you guys setting up a website or whatever, where you spend lots of time just at the computer.
Oh yeah.
It's not that your metabolism has suddenly slowed down, you've put on weight. It's you've literally sat at a computer for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, and we've discussed this, hormones can come into play there.
Yeah.
But calories in versus calories out will always hold true. So some of the metabolic balance type diets do blood tests, and I think this is where they really suck people in. Like, people are like, oh, they're testing like 36 markers, like now we're gonna crack this fat loss code once and for all.
Take my money.
They'll do, and I mean, some of these markers are so good, and I think people should be doing these anyway. So they'll do like glucose and insulin, which will help in determining if you're pre-diabetic. They'll generally do thyroid, but not necessarily all the correct thyroid markers, especially the one here. They'll do your your lipid profile, which is great. So cholesterol, triglycerides. And then they do some liver functioning, kidneys, and they'll look through your blood, like your red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. Those are great. But the thing is, do they actually explain to you why? And does that make sense to you? And they're saying about your hormones, but there is not a single sex hormone being tested there. And it's like, well,
no, it's almost a good blood test.
It is.
To say we're always on the right path. But because that's the thing, it's like great, your lipids, but lipid profiles you can get 10 a penny just from pretty much anywhere. Blood glucose, easy to do yourself even. It's nice to do a full fasted blood glucose with drinking the old high glucose drink and seeing that spikes. But reality is, if we're just doing fasted blood glucose, which is what you can do with a prick test. There's nothing special there that you can't do for pretty much 5 to 10k.
Yeah, true.
It's crazy, and then this is all for $900, and if you want to go down that route of getting blood work done, do it with someone who knows what they're doing and get the full picture. Get all the thyroid markers that you need, not just TSH, which is what the one that in Nairobi does. And they just wrote normal, and it's like they didn't say what the result was, just wrote normal, and I'm like, that's not helpful.
The thing is, TSH on its own is pointless.
It's
without LSH, without full thyroid,
it's telling you
your T3 and stuff.
You need to do a full sex hormone panel as well. And yes, it gives you insight and it can be very helpful, but that still doesn't mean you have to eat like a very specific way. And I think it's so obvious. If you are doing your blood glucose, you can tell if it's high and what you can do about it. You don't have to be doing a whole metabolic balance diet for that.
No. Here's the thing though, a single blood glucose test is as much use as a chocolate teapot, because it's a one moment in time. When we took that blood, your blood glucose was high, for instance.
Yeah, true.
But that's not to say over the week it was. It might have been either you ate just before the test, you meant to do these tests fasted, or the night before you had a really large meal with lots of carbohydrates, and your blood glucose is still high. Now, if they tested it every day across the week, and it's consistently, and I mean like at a consistent level as well, so it's not vastly up. If you consistently say, or 6.5, it clears the calculations now in the head, John.
Yeah.
But so you're like that diabetic level.
Yeah.
Then you should be actually speaking to a doctor for starters.
Yeah.
Because that's actually quite serious. If you are like just at over 5.5 to 6, say, so you're on the verge of pre-diabetes, you can reduce your carbs, but you can learn to do that anyway yourself, or speak to someone who knows a little bit about it, because you go, okay, so I'm running a little bit, and we've done the podcast on this. So I'm running a little glucose, reduce my carbs on these meals, keep the carbs slightly higher around training, job done, glucose stable.
What?
Yeah, so then the glucose will be stable if you like we said in that episode.
Yeah, no, I was saying what makes it sad is if you're doing it for yourself, your blood glucose is high. The same diet has been signed off by a doctor who didn't tell you could check your blood glucose on a daily. So it's a bit
check your blood glucose.
What people do for the money, because they don't tell you your sort of what your results were. It's written, like Claire said, normal. And then the same doctor signs you off to do a metabolic diet, which will make things worse. Maybe even if your blood glucose was good, now it's just going to be bad. And it's just a bit sad when you can see the same people who are meant to help you, live healthier. I guess not spend too much when it comes to your health are the same people trying to take your money and make the most by apparently getting you healthier. It's a bit.
Yeah, but one thing you said there is really important. Like, if you are being told you've got high blood glucose, you need to reduce carbs, they should be telling you to test your blood glucose. You need to be able to test daily after your meals, so they've got a proper picture. And if you don't have high blood glucose, and you start actually then suffering from low blood glucose levels, because actually, you're tired all the time, you're foggy in your head, you're sweating. I've seen we call it the keto fog. Essentially, all it is because your blood glucose is super low. So therefore, you start creating ketones to keep yourself alive. Essentially, you start breaking down ketones, which just means you're breaking down proteins. And you likely break down protein before the fats as well half the time. And all these things is like, no, it's not what the body's meant to be doing. Not everyone needs to go on a keto diet. People feel like crap on the keto diet initially because, your blood glucose is really low. And that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
You should, I don't mind the keto diet for myself, but that's because I know I've got some sort of blood glucose. I keep carbs in around training because my training performance would be rubbish otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, you know how to implement it. And like a really good example. So one of my clients went to have her blood work done in South Africa, and we'd been doing her blood glucose daily, and it was a 4.8, which is fine. And the stress of flying, being dehydrated, not getting enough sleep. So when she got her blood glucose done, it was a 5.5. Andy was saying, if you just looked at that in isolation, you'd be like, oh, we've got to watch out for you. And, this person does not necessarily need to be on a low carbohydrate diet.
Yeah.
But anyway, so going into the diet itself, and it's like, okay, we've looked through all your individual markers based on everything that's unique to you. We're going to give you this diet, which is pretty much the same for everybody, which is keto or phases of keto. And like, I'm just going to read you. This is a very popular diet here in Kenya. I'm not naming it. I'm just going to give you some examples.
As soon as they hear, I'm sure that everyone will know which one.
Be like, yes, we've done this one. Okay, so this is.
Hear me, I'll tell you anyway.
These are your breakfast options. You can have 1 egg with 65 grams of vegetables, or you can have 45 grams of cheese with 56 grams of vegetables, or you can have 175 mLs natural yogurt. Just that.
Right, hang on. I'm just going to do the egg one. I'm going to work it out on my fitness pal.
Okay, so 1 egg with 65 grams.
Large egg, medium egg?
Yeah, medium egg.
Okay, egg. Whole 1 egg. I'm just going to whole 1 egg, right? Okay, Jesus.
5 grams.
Yeah, and it's so I'll read to you.
65 to mix veg test.
So 1 egg is like 70 calories. So let's look at the vegetables we allow.
Okay. So how much was 65 grams, wasn't it?
65 grams of veggies. You can have cabbage, green pepper, green.
Guess how many calories? Like, guess how many calories that is for your breakfast?
100 calories for brekkie. Delicious.
109 calories. Protein, 8 grams. Fat, see, this is the point. Like, fat is 5.5 grams, but so carbs is 5.7.
Wow. It's okay. And so they've said you want to keep 5 hours between meals.
What?
Hello, poor blood glucose.
Like 100 calories for 5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah. No wonder you can't exercise. Okay. So we're moving to lunch. So lunch and dinner are pretty much the same. So it's approximately like 100 grams of meat or poultry. Or fish, or again, you could have your 68 grams of cheese this time, or you can splash out on feta cheese once a week, 52 grams of it, and you're combining all of those with approximately 100 grams of vegetables.
How many vegetables on that?
About 100.
Okay. So that 100 grams of raw chicken breast. 100 grams of vegetables is 166 calories.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
For another 5 hours.
For another 5 hours.
Again, fats are really low, 1.8 grams of fat.
Interesting.
It's like, what is this diet? And
7 grams. So far you've had, what's that, 35 grams of protein.
Wow.
For the whole day.
So you can have snacks.
266.
You can have 5 provitas or barvitas or rice cakes as a snack in the day, and you can have 2 fruits.
What? Just 2 fruits?
two fruits.
2 large pineapples,
and like
please.
you're allowed
2 watermelons.
You can have apples, oranges, pawpaw, green melon, a kiwi. I guess you could eat an entire grapefruit.
Which is also.
And you're allowed 1 mango once a week.
Andy, you're not allowed pineapple.
Nope, and you're not allowed avocado.
We're not lucky.
So bizarre.
Yeah,
You're not
the best.
avocado.
Right, so that's a little bit more. So 5 rice cakes and 2 medium apples is 319 calories.
But it's either.
Only 5 grams of protein. Around up to 6 grams of protein.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't say choose one. Could be both. Yeah, true.
So, but this is. So
now
have we even reached 700 calories?
We're maybe 600 and something. 600, yeah, calories.
This is worse than the one your client was on.
Yeah, our internet's just up and down.
We're just under 600.
600.
There we are. The internet was being shady again.
Wow.
Andy keeps freezing. Give it 1 minute.
So we're...
Yeah, Andy's frozen. So we're just
But I
waiting.
think he said that was 6. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, it's 590 calories.
590.
So not even. Oh, geez. Oh yeah, and you can have water.
600.
You can have water, you can have up to 5 cups of black tea, herbal tea or coffee, and you can have a whole liter of diet soda. Andy, you'd like that.
It's meant for you, man.
I'm on the diet. Like, get me on.
Wait, so we can say...
All right.
you're
So
having-
there's some other guidelines that go with this. So do not skip meals. I think on that amount of calories, you would not be skipping any meals.
And it's 5 hours apart.
So
Jeez.
you should
You're
space
getting
your
food.
meals 5 hours so that you get glucose and blood sugar crashes.
Amazing.
You should have your last meal before 9 p.m. You can have cheese only once a day and feta once a week because it has too much salt. You do not share your plan with anyone else because this is unique to you. And if you share it, they'll probably see you're on the exact same one as you.
That's the problem. That's why we don't want you to share it. 'cause it's
Busted. Don't weigh yourself every day. Well, yeah, I mean, for some, yes and no. What else? Okay. All right. That's pretty much it. And I mean, it gives you an idea of what it's about, and you're supposed to lose, hang on, I think it says how much you're expected to lose.
About 20.
So you can, women can lose about 5 kilos a month, which men can lose up to 7. And if you have chronic conditions, you can lose 3 to 4 kilos a month.
But here's the thing: you will lose that, but you also lose every bit of muscle on your body. Yeah, you won't necessarily lose your body fat. You'll just be like a bag of skin.
And
Especially if you're not training.
and if you have chronic conditions, are you really supposed, like, if you have chronic conditions, you're working with a doctor and a dietitian or nutritionist to get you better before you can go on any sort of diet?
That could potentially kill you. If you've really got a proper chronic condition, that'd be too much too soon.
Yeah.
The fact is, imagine if you're really, really big. Your calorie needs are a lot higher. Now, no wonder I said don't exercise. I don't think I could get out of bed on that amount of calories. I think I'd just be tired like non-stop. I couldn't do anything with that. I wouldn't be able to sort my dogs out, walk my dogs.
Nothing. And it's just so sad because again, you're just sucked in by the marketing and like you're going to have a diet made for you on your blood work, but it's like nothing will beat you getting the basics in first, or someone actually finding about your whole life and like, can you even stick to something like this, which is going to give you so many nutrient deficiencies?
Oh, 100%.
Your hormone like dysfunction, like for women, we need those carbohydrates. I mean, so do men.
Yeah.
And it's like, get your lifestyle basics in place first. Like, as we've said before, just focusing on your sleep and stress will help with so many of those chronic conditions.
That's the thing. Like, you start with your stress, get your stress, which is always the hardest. But if you can get stress under control, you'll sleep better, you'll lose weight, you feel better.
Yeah.
Straight away, stress is like the thing we should probably work on, and we talk about for at least, talk about weight loss.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure listeners are used to this. It's internet issues again, and it's frozen.
But yeah, just the importance of, stress. Like,
yeah,
the more stressed you are, your cortisol is going to increase, and that, can really inhibit fat loss, and cause all sorts of chronic conditions, the ones that you're trying to sorry, Andy, you're back.
again.
We just
Kenya.
on the stress.
I think
Yeah.
listeners are used to this.
Just saying.
Stress management is key. That's about it. So, in a nutshell.
Also,
Everything.
I was just going to say, I think the biggest red flag is like what Tia said. the diet is saying it's going to balance your hormones, but you're paying all this and you don't even have a baseline of what your hormonal profile looks like. That right there is the biggest red flag. It's just like a trainer promising you big arms, but you end up doing legs every day. There's nothing to show you if your hormonal profile has improved or not. So
thing is, they can't do a full hormone profile because if they did, if you test it at the end, it's going to be worse.
Yeah.
No way this diet would improve anyone's hormones.
Mhm.
Not a chance.
And even if you diet someone in a healthy and sustainable way, metabolic adaptation is inevitable. Like again, the same client who we had her blood work done, we'd done a fat loss phase over 4 months with refeeds every week, diet breaks. Her thyroid was downregulated. It is inevitable. Like her testosterone was also downregulated, and cortisol was high. It's just, that's what happens when you're in a diet. And that's when it's, taking into effect lifestyle, training, and all of that. And like, if you don't, like, I just shudder to think what the health markers would be of these diets. And
it'd be interesting research.
It's like, I know some people who are obese, they need to lose that weight, but this is not sustainable. And you've learned nothing. You've really learned nothing. Like, if you're willing to spend $900, get a coach who's actually gonna, work, who cares about you, who's gonna work with you. And it's like, you might not necessarily need to get like blood tests right away. And I think it is a bit of a trend that everyone's like, oh, I have to get my blood work done. And it's like, it is helpful, but you can still get into place all the basics first, because without those, there's no particular food, there's no particular supplement that is going to work. You cannot out supplement, poor lifestyle.
Yeah, agreed.
And then training is so important. That's such a huge part of the picture. That will help your metabolic health like 100-fold. Like, it's building muscle, like for your bone health, the way your body deals with waste products, how you deal with your blood glucose. You can manage that a lot with your training. And I'm not just talking about training, but cardio as well.
Yeah.
And mental stress. It's big. Training has this like great ability to make us feel great. Endorphins. But the reason you can't train on most diets is because you will possibly get really ill. You probably collapse.
Collapse.
Yeah, imagine say like during prep, you're on 3 times this, and you're still feeling like, man, I could use an extra meal. And I don't know, it's so I can't picture myself on like 600 calories. Maybe I'll have to try one day and just
you die.
Just one day.
Just one day. See what happens.
No, I'm sure I'll be cranky. Work will be hard.
Oh, you might just be crying by the end of the day.
Well, maybe what we should all do is follow that diet for one day. We'll share on Instagram like 1 egg with 65
I'll have to do it the rest day.
Oh yeah.
Not that train.
Not on a leg day.
One egg. And like, we need fat.
Yeah.
We need fat. We need carbohydrates. And I'm just thinking like it's so narrow what you can eat on those diets.
The thing is, it's not even a keto diet because the fat's not high enough.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very, very low calorie diet.
Yep.
It's low on everything.
Yeah. We'll rename it. It's like how to cause hormone dysfunction and down-regulate your metabolism.
No, it's got to have a catchy name. The metabolic crash diet.
Yeah, I'll do it for a day. I'll look for someone with a GoPro and do it for one day, and guys can just see me, working as you sulk, and you're like, oh crap.
Going to eat my 52 grams of feta cheese for once a week.
No, but see, but the thing is, you got what you got to choose. Because you choose that one egg, or you got to choose the feta cheese.
Tough choices.
Interesting. I'll go with the egg.
Wait, hang on. The things that you can't eat just kill me on this diet. Like, it to me, it makes absolutely no sense. So
No avocado.
you can't eat avocado. You can't eat goat. You can't eat lamb. You can't eat pork. You can't eat ostrich. You can't eat shrimp. You can't eat salmon. You can't have tuna.
Why?
Why?
Makes no sense.
You can't have legumes. You
It's-
can't have red and orange peppers. You can't have potatoes. You can't have oats. You can't have peas. You can't have butternut. You can't have carrots. You can't have beetroot. You can't have banana. You can't have berries. That's just weird.
But you know what? So this is like just taking things from every diet, taking the worst bits of every diet and putting it in one diet.
And what in
What we've done, essentially.
You're not allowed ginger. You're not allowed.
Can't even use Royco.
But can't have Royco. You can't have. But now it's telling you can't have Diet Coke.
Yeah, so you can't have that. They say, oh, interesting. You can't have Diet Coke, but you can have a liter. So I don't know.
Will I experience
Have a
constipation?
It's saying you.
Oh, it says the nutritional plan is balanced with ample fiber.
No.
Where?
Yeah.
Where? Honestly, you use like 65 grams of vegetables.
But you can imagine the mental.
165 grams.
It will require some willpower.
You can imagine how it messes someone
Wow.
who has no idea. This is the first time. This is all they know. Maybe they've done it for a year or two, and then maybe they get a good coach because of lack of results or just being depressed on this. How much, what is it, damage control you have to do to get them out of this mindset? It's
Well, exactly. The thing is, you have to build them up their calories up.
Yeah.
and they're
Like-
not just used to that. It's
Because I guarantee they still have a lot of body fat.
Yeah.
Very low muscle tone. So very low muscle tone. Still body fat. They go feel skinny fat.
Mhm.
They're still, they come to you, go, I want to lose the last bit. I've done this diet for a year. I want to lose the last bit of fat. But the fact is, you got to say, well, get you some muscle first. You have to get you some muscle.
It's just, yeah.
and
I
how
have no words.
strength training is amazing. How strength training just helps with everything else, and that's the one thing that's not even there.
Yeah.
I take it back. This one says you can do like 30 minutes a week.
Oh, nice. There,
At
the
least.
first one at least 30.
But I know on other ones it's like don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like I don't see how you could do anything on this, like we were saying. And I think just the take home is
Mhm.
all of these like big programs online. Another one is what was it? Was it Wild Fit?
Yeah,
Wild
something
Fit.
like that.
Kind of similar, going through phases. You're cutting out sugar, you're cutting out carbs, and or I think that one like markets how we used to eat, like it's more paleo. And again, like it's just such seductive marketing, and you've got to think to yourself, like if you're willing to invest $1,000 into something like this, like just take a step back and being like, okay, like you can just implement the basics first, just do some basic research, learn about the basics so that you can be like, I'm not so sure about this. And I would work with a coach who knows what they're doing and who does something, they'll work one-to-one with you, get you proper blood work if that's what you want.
Yeah, if you're willing
to find a way of eating that will get you to your goals, a way of training that will get you to your goals, but that will fit into your lifestyle without you doing extreme things. And it's a forever thing. Like people, and we're always saying this, like take a long-term view, because this is very short term.
Mhm.
And like if we could, we know firsthand like what happens to people who do to these diets. Like of course it's going to work if you stick to it. You will lose a lot of weight, but can you keep that weight off? Like what have you learned from this diet apart from how to
Disordered
how
eating.
to have disordered eating? And
that's the thing. The biggest issue is people get so focused on weight. But weight alone won't give you the physique you want. People have a very particular look in their head of what they want to look like. that isn't represented by a scale number. As I said, I've had clients who've stayed the same weight pretty much over 6 months, but their physique's massively changed because of composition.
Yeah. And again, like some people do need to lose weight.
Yes.
But, do it properly so that it will stay off. Like, just try not to be desperate in that you've like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to lose 40 kilos in 3 months.
Yeah.
If something sounds too good to be true, it is. And
here's the thing, like one of my clients check-ins this week, they're on holiday in London. They said it's so good because they can go out and feel really confident eating out now because they know there's no foods to avoid, they can eat anything and just be a bit mindful to make sure we get enough protein in the day, and if and focus on that. So they because they're on holiday, so I've told them to enjoy their food, but they feel a lot more confident. They're not in fear. Like these diets, especially like most women I've known over my life, have been on some form of diet their whole life. With that comes a great fear of eating out, enjoying food. Amount of people I still see commenting, "Oh, I'm having a big lunch. I'm gonna have to get some extra cardio in later." It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah, just
need to do not even necessarily that much food.
It is so sad, and it's like, where could you possibly go on holiday with this kind of diet anyway?
Yeah. One egg.
And like,
well, there'd be no fun.
You'd not enjoy the holiday.
No, it'd be zero. It'd be rubbish.
You'll be angry at everyone. You'll be hungry. And
it's like, I like these diets. They annoy me because life is going to get in the way, and if you don't know how to adapt, it's not going to help you. Like, that's why we have refeed days. We have those diet breaks. If you are going on holiday, if life throws you a curveball, you can just take a break. This does not take that into account, and because you're not reporting to like a one-to-one coach, and even though they're saying this is unique to you, I'm sure they're not going to be like, yeah, go and eat cake this weekend, it's all good. And they'll be like, yeah, no, you suck it up. And I know, like, one of your clients, Leon, she had to like take a picture of if she ate off track, and
that's another one even.
Send it to her coach.
This was another interesting coach. Yeah, so maybe we'll tackle that at the.
But here's the thing, like, you look at this, and it's not going to be one-to-one coaching. You just give them a plan and tell them to get on with it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Really, most of these plans are like that. It's like, so there's no flexibility because there's no one to talk to. So that's why they fail a lot of the time. Because unless it's got some flexibility, we don't live a rigid life. No one does. Except maybe play bodybuilders.
Yeah, that one was a coach, but same cookie cutter thing. Maybe once a week, but it's like a group. And it's like, yeah, you gained a kilo. Send me all your food. You ate some.
So that's just fat shaming. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. And if you are obese, like I think we said this in a previous podcast as well, like you need therapy. You need to go to a therapist because there's like a root cause there as well. And you're saying this is just going to mess you up even more. Yes. And you really need to take that holistic approach. And like, if anyone is fat shaming you for anything like this woman was, that's so wrong. And like, there's another one on my friend shared it with me on Instagram. I can't even remember what it's called, but it is so culty. They become like these cults, and it's just, that's what really scares me. And they're just, once something becomes culty like that, it's like,
it's scary now.
Wow.
Well, I shared with you, what was it, nutritional medium or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's all detoxing, and got like 2 million followers or something,
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it's amazing. Detox still sells.
If we just changed all our names, like Metabolic Andy, Detox Leah, Reset Leah, you can
detox static.
All right. I love the idea of drinking lemon water in the morning. I said to the client,
yeah,
keep that. You're drinking water in the morning. If you want to add a bit of lemon to it, that's not going to hurt you. It's
That's
gonna be
fine.
Like, but when you're having all your meals almost like liquid, your digestion is going to suffer.
Oh yeah,
It
major.
is. It is. It's just.
Yeah, one day we'll do a podcast about that, because I think also guys forget that part of the whole process, digestion, and you can't drink forever. You can't juice and drink forever.
Well, it's
man.
also really bad for your teeth.
Oh,
You know, you need to chew for your dental health.
oh yeah, true. Wow.
Yeah. So I just think we'll wrap up now. Like if you are tempted by these and you're like willing to throw $1,000 at it, really, really think again. And nothing.
Throw $1,000 at me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get yourself a coach who's actually going to care about you, and do it properly. Like if they're like, look, this might take us 2 years, they're probably right, and it may not be what you want to hear, but it will be long lasting. And if you want to get your blood work done, get it done properly. If you're going to get it done and spend that money, do it properly, so that you can actually work with it and then retest as well.
Yeah, if there are any other amazing diet plans like this one, I'd like to see them. Just
send them to us, or if there's any other diets you want us to go through. I mean, but these ones to me, these take the biscuit because they're so clever. They're so clever the way they market. And
that's the thing. It's just marketed on
insecurity. Yeah. And it's so sad. Well, we'll wrap that up there today. We're off to eat our 52 grams of feta cheese. I honestly, I could not do that challenge. I would not wish that upon anybody. Food is meant to be enjoyed. I mean, on that note, I'm gonna go and cook. We have spicy fig beef sausages.
They're not on the list. You can't eat chicken.
It's not chicken. It's beef.
Beef. You can't eat beef, isn't it?
Am I not allowed to eat beef?
We'll check.
I'm sure figs are not on that list.
No.
But as always, if you have any questions on this, do let us know. And if you have any other diets you want us to talk about, let us know as well. And just remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. The basics will always work. And just have enough knowledge that you cannot, these things don't mislead you.
Yeah. And if you, like Andy said, if you have $1,000 to spend on that, throw it at us. We'll help you use it correctly. All right. Ciao. Andy's frozen again, internet, but yeah. Yeah.